positive change. Okay, Councillor Beales.
Thank you very much. You clearly know where to direct all your future deputations directly to Councillor Olad. I'm sure he'll be pleased there. So thank you very much. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Councillor Olad. I think I'll pick up on a number of your points, I think, through the presentation of the report. I think, broadly, I just want to be completely clear for the public record. It never was, it never has been, and it never will be Camden's approach to sell off land and to work with private developers in the way that you've characterised and caricatured, Alex. Quite clearly in the report, and time again we've said this, in the report, in black and white, it says quite categorically Camden has assessed options and explicitly rules out that approach. The Community Investment Programme model is council as developer, council as deliverer, a public sector-led approach, which I think is one of the reasons you support our proposals and are encouraging us to take a lead across more sites and to look at things like a council wholly owned company, which we said we'll work through our thinking with you on. So that's not our approach. It was your approach to suggest a public-private joint venture. It was not our approach and never has been. So I think that's just really important for transparency. I think these matters really are important, and it's important that we're completely transparent and open with that. But I think, thank you very much for your words. I'm glad you feel much more positively about the proposals, and I think that spirit of cooperation and openness is something that we aspire to do and to be, and are keen to continue. I think one of the fundamental parts of the proposed plan, which was outlined, was the foundation of this community steering group. Our projects, as Councillor Olad has mentioned in his own ward, are always community-led. And what we mean by that is the broadest possible community of residents, stakeholders, local businesses, people who live and work in the areas that are affected. So one of the things, if again we reconfirm this report tonight, is to set up that steering group, of which the Neighbourhood Forum will be well represented amongst other local residents, tenants groups and stakeholders in the broader Camden Street area. So I think that will be a really useful forum to continue the dialogue that we've obviously started at the Neighbourhood Forum meeting. But I think there's a lot more to discuss as this long-term project moves forward. I think sort of introducing the report to members, sort of backgrounds to the decision. This is the decision we took at the last Cabinet meeting to release the funds and delegate to officers the powers to begin the master planning and developing the vision that we have for this site. And there are a number of key characteristics of the things we want to see from future development of these two council-owned sites to the north of Camden Street. Crucially, as part of that is a significant increase in employment space, a place where makers, creators, light industrial uses will coexist with new residential uses, and crucially at least 50% genuinely affordable housing, and by that we mean Camden Council housing and live-in rent housing. I think this is a really exciting opportunity. I think actually we're, as we were saying, very much aligned in our aspirations for this area, creating a fantastic neighbourhood, as you say, that Camden and the residents in the wider Camden Street area can be really proud of. Yes, a sustainable area, an area with fantastic public realm, a world away from what it is now, a place where people will generally want to go and stay and their children to play, as well as, I say, crucially, some of the 6,000 families on our waiting list will be able to call it home. We'll have genuine council homes in this area. So, as was mentioned, that decision was called in by the Scrutiny Committee, and we did have, I think, a very long discussion, a very thorough discussion and debate, and the committee's asked us to delay and think again. And we have obviously paused and have continued to engage with the forum. A subsequent meeting has been held, and we have thought quite deeply about the suggestion that we might delay until the neighbourhood plan is agreed. I think, as has been said tonight, I think the neighbourhood forum feel comfortable with proceeding, and we feel it's important upon us not to delay unnecessarily the delivery of vital new council homes in the context of the housing crisis we face. And also, as mentioned, this will be an incredibly long process, as all processes like this are. There'll be a lot of hoops to go to. We are certainly not presenting a planning application anytime soon, and we will take full account of the current draft neighbourhood plan, which has obviously been submitted to Camden, and hopefully the eventual final adopted neighbourhood plan along with all of the other policies that we will have to take into account, the London Plan once agreed, Camden's local plan, and our own SPD, which is emerging. We will take into account all of those in any planning applications that will come forward. So I think we feel confident that we can respect the spirit of the recommendation and move forward at pace. I think, just reflecting on the meeting, I think it was really welcome that there were lots of open minds on both sides of the table. We engaged with a broad group of the Neighbourhood Forum, which I think was really positive, and people we haven't perhaps engaged with yet. So I think that was welcome. And I think I'd also like to return the thanks to you for your openness and engaging going forward. And I think there's a really welcome commitment and recognition around the table that the affordable housing policies as stated in the draft Neighbourhood Plan are not in line with Camden's priorities and our own local plan. And I think a recognition that you would look again potentially adapting them in future to reflect the importance that we place on genuinely affordable social rent council housing. So I welcome that commitment and hope that can be taken forward whilst the Neighbourhood Plan is examined. That might be something you consider changing on the basis of that commitment. I think, as I mentioned, I would recommend tonight that we re-agree this report. We will continue, if so, to work together in that spirit. I think we have a fantastic shared vision for a place, an exciting place where people will live, where people will work, where people will be proud to call home, and I hope the Council can confirm it tonight.